Good morning! So today we are leaving Sri Lanka and heading to Kerala in India. We have had the best time in Sri Lanka and I'm really going to miss it. Let's focus on the next adventure. We started the day off with a delicious breakfast of fresh fruit and pancakes before making our way to the airport. So good morning, we are now in India. We're in Kerala, well 2.5 hours from Kerala, in Mannar, which is up in the mountains and surrounded by tea plantation. So we're hoping to go and explore one today. We're gonna have to take a jeep out to get there though, because the road is quite rocky and steep and a car can't go up it, so wish us luck. Should be interesting. We set off, driving deeper into the mountains. We were heading over to meet our jeep driver, who was waiting in a nearby town. As we got closer to the mountain, the weather started to change. So now we've switched to the jeep. We're gonna go up through the tea plantation, so it should be really cool. This is the biggest tea plantation in India. Correction, it's the tallest tea plantation in the world. It's called Malai Tea Estate. Kulu meaning big and Malai meaning mountain, which is quite appropriate as it's situated on top of a mountain which is 2,170 meters above sea level. As we were driving along, the road seemed fine. We kind of wondered why we even needed a jeep and thought the guys maybe were exaggerating about how bumpy it was. But wow, how wrong were we? Suddenly, the tarmac road disappeared and was replaced by a very rough and uneven dirt track with huge ridges in places, and wow was it bumpy. We were all tossed about the jeep like rag dolls. It was so funny. So just walking through the tea plantation at the moment. There's not much light left in the day, but that road is seriously bumpy. I've never known anything like it in my life. Wow. So what do you feel like, Tig, being here?
It's like you're in the middle of nowhere, but this like beautiful nowhere. It's just mad as well. It's like impossible to get up here. I don't even know how we're up here at the moment.
No.
This shouldn't be called a tea plantation, but it should be renamed to a tea safari.
This plantation is absolutely beautiful and produces 12 tons of tea every month. We took a welcome break from all the bouncing around in the jeep and explored some of the tea plantations, taking in these amazing views. It's so amazing to see a guy here. It's unlike anything I've seen before. So high up. And it's our awesome Jeep driver. He's helping us not to get killed on the road. Very cool. What's your name?
Raja.
Thank you for driving. After a brief stop, we carried on further up to visit the factory where the tea is produced. Sadly, there was no filming inside, but wow, the aroma of tea was incredible. Once the tea leaves have been picked, they are taken to the factory to be processed. There are only 24 hours between it being picked and being boxed. There are factories dotted all around the tea plantations, as the closer the factory is, the fresher the tea is. So there are several stages in between picking it and boxing it. So the first stage is to reduce the water content. This is done by laying out the leaves and then the air is passed over them, gently drying them out, which takes between 12 and 17 hours. The next stage is rolling, and this can either be done by hand or by a machine, which rotates horizontally on a rolling table. The next process is oxidization, which determines the tea's colour, taste and strength. The leaves are usually put out on something like a table and left for between 30 minutes and 2 hours at a temperature of 26 degrees Celsius. Depending on the type of tea that they want to go for will determine how long they'll leave the tea leaves to be oxidized. Once the leaves have been oxidized to the appropriate level, they are passed through hot air dryers, which reduces their water content even more to about 3%. Then all that's left to do is to sort them and pack them. Once we left, we saw some of the people gathering the tea leaves as the clouds from the mountains began to come in, making them almost invisible. I don't know if you can hear or not, but there's all the people there in the mist picking the leaves. Now that mist is coming right up to us now, and the people that are collecting the tea leaves are just covered and they're invisible. You can hear them, but you can't see them. And it's amazing, we saw sacks and sacks of tea produced in that factory, and they do that every single day. These people work so hard gathering the tea leaves, collecting on average between 100 and 120 grams of tea leaves a day. As well as the extreme hard work and exhaustion, it's also quite dangerous, as leopards, tigers, wild boar and elephants are some of the animals that share the mountains with these workers. Wow, you don't get views like this every day. We travelled further up the mountain to the highest point, where to our surprise we found a restaurant. You can't even imagine how high it is. We're at the top of the mountain, and typical Indian fashion, there is a restaurant at the top of it that's selling tea. It's just in the middle of nowhere. So we're gonna have to have some tea. I feel like I need a brandy after that. Oh my god. Nice bit of chai. This restaurant has been in business since 1935 and makes a really tasty cup of chai. Point I've ever drunk a cup of tea. It had snow a month ago here, and after the snow comes the rain for a little bit, so we've got a lot of mist at the moment. But this is 10,000 feet above sea level at the top of this mountain, and the tea plantation goes all the way up it. So it's an experience. I'm glad we have a Jeep. I'm glad I'm not driving, because I'll tell you something, those roads were the most bumpy roads I've ever been on in my entire life. And look, this is all the tea. Look at the tea. Each of these is hand-picked. I can't believe we're walking through these tea plantations like this, to actually be up here with the mountain just over there. It's so surreal. I've never walked in between tea before, and it kind of cements it all in my head. Now we've seen the factory where they make it. They didn't let you record in there, but there's so many processes to making the tea, and so many different types of tea that come from that place. It was time to make our way down. On a clear day you can get a beautiful view of the sun setting through the mountains, or even better, the sun rising through the clouds. Thankfully, it was quicker to go down the mountain than up. We met some tea pickers on our journey back and gave them some much needed water. The whole trip took about 4 hours, and we were so tired when we went back to our hotel that we fell straight to sleep. What a crazy day, an amazing day, and so different to anything we've ever experienced before. Next time, we travel down the mountains to Alleppey, where we try a houseboat experience, which, to put it mildly, was not what we expected. So until next time guys, take care and we'll see you soon.